You guys know what time it is. It's time for the SEC Unfiltered Power Rankings. Who's on the fraud watch? Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us up, turn us on, turn it out. I'm here with my good friend Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered to talk a little Auburn football, a little SEC football. It's Power Rankings time, Chris. And
Mike
we
G,
got
what's up, man? Hey, we got a loaded Week 5 slate. It's crazy.
Man.
Week 5's already here. I just want the college football season to slow down just a little bit. Spooky season's already around the corner, which some out there, it's already started. I went to my barber shop the other day. They got this thing decked out for Halloween. I'm like, hey, relax. Can we give September some respect? But, Mike, I'm glad to see you holding strong, brother. I know Saturday was a tough one. I'm sure we'll get into.
Look, it was tough, but I left the game encouraged because Auburn, if you watched Iowa State, Kansas State to start the season, close game, terrible football. This was great football between two really talented football teams, and I think that the world saw it. Look, Auburn dropped out of the top 25, but right on the cusp, like most receiving votes. So people generally understand that this is a good football team. If you're Hugh Freeze, you got to go on the road for a second week straight and try to bounce back here at A&M. Not going to be an easy task. I think A&M has a better offensive line that defensive line from Auburn is going to have to contend with, Chris. So we'll see where they end up. But look, let's jump into our power rankings here as presented by SEC Unfiltered. My friend, we got Georgia at number 1, where they belong, where they always belong. OU beats Auburn and moves up to 2. LSU coming in at 3. A&M moves up to 4. Tennessee at 5. Missouri at 6. Vandy comes in at 7. Texas at 8. Ole Miss at 9. I just don't know. I know they lost, but did you have to? You didn't have to put Alabama ahead of Auburn. You did that just to needle me. Mississippi State comes in at 12, and then the bottom 4, rounding out the bottom 4, South Carolina just floundering at this point in the season. Florida, who is probably going to fire Billy Napier sometime around Thanksgiving. Arkansas also has got probably a hot seat situation there. Kentucky dead last where they belong in the cellar. Let's start at the top here. The Georgia Bulldogs got a tough matchup coming up here. This is before we start recording, we talked about this slate of SEC games. I just want to spell this out for our listeners on pod. Number 22, Notre Dame goes to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Utah State at Vanderbilt. LSU at Ole Miss in that 3:30 slot. Auburn and Texas A&M also in that 3:30 slot. We get 3-1 Tennessee versus an undefeated Mississippi State. They took down Arizona State, the defending Big 12 champs there already. Alabama and Georgia, that Georgia is hosting. So number 17, Alabama, number 5, Georgia. Massachusetts and Missouri, that's not anything to call home about. And then bottom of the barrel battle, a BBB there at the bottom, Kentucky at South Carolina. We won't spend too much time there. But look, let's start it. Let's go back to our list here. Obviously, Georgia speaks for itself. They're Georgia. I picked them to win the SEC at SEC Media Days. I don't see anything that changes that. But you're giving Oklahoma a lot of credit here for a tough win at home versus Auburn. Talk to me about Oklahoma moving up to 2 in your power rankings this week.
Yeah, I am giving them a lot of credit. Now, I will say this, Mike. Without John Matea, they are not at this 2 spot. We got the news, obviously, on early Tuesday that John Matea, with the hand injury he suffered against your Auburn Tigers, going to be out for a month or so. There's some speculation. Maybe if the rehab recovery process goes incredibly well, he's back for the Red River Shootout. I highly, highly doubt it. But, yeah, listen, I give Oklahoma a lot of credit. A lot of it goes to the defense, right? A lot of it goes to the defense. It's an elite-level defense. It's one of the best defensive fronts in college football. We've talked about it all season. I think that was evidence on Saturday. 10 sacks in that game against Auburn. But this is a different team without John Matea, Mike. There's no doubt. I mean, we talked about it, and give Auburn all the credit. Really tough defensive front. but they've struggled all year to manufacture a conventional running game. What I mean by that is not manufactured via quarterback run and doing some special things with Matea. So you take him out of the equation, this is a much different football team. We'll see what Michael Hawkins can do. But, yeah, I do give Oklahoma a lot of credit for what they've done to this point. They haven't struggled quite to the level of some others. And, you know, I put respect and give credit where credit's due. If you're out here winning big games, they beat Michigan. Say what you want about them. They beat Auburn, which I think was a high-quality win. Sure, it took some interesting calls, to say the very least.
Yeah.
But you got to give credit where credit's due. At the end of the day, they did get the dub. I do want to go back. You mentioned Georgia at 1. Want to simply say, so stoked we're going to be at that game in Athens, the SEC Unfiltered Tour. There was no other place I was going this weekend than Sanford Stadium. Cannot wait to watch that battle. And it's I know you don't want to talk about the Crimson Tide, and you mentioned them being one spot ahead of Auburn. It's a huge spot for Bama, man. Spoiler alert, we don't have either on our fraud watch, but, I have Bama so low still because they beat up on ULM. They beat up on Wisconsin. Whoop-de-doo, as Young Thug likes to say. Whoop-de-doo.
They lose this game. They're 2-2, 4 weeks into the season.
Right. So it's huge opportunity for the Crimson Tide. We all know the history about Georgia hasn't beaten Bama in the regular season in forever. They haven't beaten them in Athens since 2003.
It's a year to do it.
Huge spot for Georgia, too. I think it's going to be an absolute classic of a game. But, yeah, I'm still high on Oklahoma, but this John Matea thing is very interesting.
It is interesting. Now, Oklahoma was not a good rushing football team before. You mentioned 43 carries for 190 yards. John Matea, he was their leading rusher. Mm-hmm. He is their offense. Mm-hmm. And without him, dare I say, we saw what Michael Hawkins Jr. was. There's a reason they brought in John Matea.
They're going to have to find ways to win games like 17-14 or 14-10 without him. Bottom line. I mean, the offense, it's not like it's the best offense in the conference with him. They just have a special player at the quarterback position. So, yeah, you take him out of the equation. Again, I agree with you, Mike. I mean, we saw and it was a Michael Hawkins Jr. on a banged-up Oklahoma squad, let's not forget. But
fair.
If Michael Hawkins was John Matea, they wouldn't have brought John Matea.
They wouldn't have brought him in.
Right.
They wouldn't have brought him in, and it wasn't even a question. It wasn't even a competition. So there's clearly a drop off there. When you talk about rushing offense, though, like I said, that they were the third worst rushing offense coming into this week. And Chris, I'm not sure that they got any better. The way it looks here, I mean, boy, the numbers are rough for Oklahoma here. So they're bottom 5 in the conference in rushing right now. It's going to be if you're going to play one-dimensional football. I thought before I said before the Auburn game that the winner of this game would go on to win the college football to make the college football playoff. But that was assuming that John Matea is there and healthy. Without him,
Mike, just a couple
extended period of time.
Just a couple numbers to reinforce saying our guy CJ Vogel over at On Texas Football, which ironically enough, a lot of Texas folks chimed in with their thoughts on the Matea injury, but he did point out some interesting stats. Oklahoma running backs, where they rank in the SEC through 4 weeks. Tied 13th in missed tackles forced, tied 14th in runs of 10-plus yards, 16th in rushing yards, 16th in yards after contact, 16th in rush yards per game by running backs, and 16th in rushing yards per attempt. So that spells it out for you right there.
Yeah.
The conventional running game, like I said, with your running backs, I mean, it's going to have to step up for them to have a shot to steady the ship while John Matea's out.
Yeah, look, I mean, after you beat Auburn, you had playoff aspirations, and now without him, you got to find a way to hold that together here with a rough SEC slate ahead of them. So it's going to be tough, as I mentioned. This slate of games this week, and before we get to the break here, and then get on to our fraud watch, I want to talk about Auburn and Texas A&M. If you're Auburn, whole season's still in front of you. This is only your first loss and your first SEC game. You beat A&M. A lot will be forgiven, and you got a lot of momentum with Georgia coming to the Plains where anything is possible. Lots of voodoo happens in Jordan here. We're going to be praying to Auburn Jesus. Will Auburn fans be for a win there to possibly beat A&M to head to 4-1, and then you beat Georgia and you're 5-1 over the first half of the season and in the driver's seat for a playoff spot. Expectations are rising on the Plains, Chris. I came away disappointed about the loss, but encouraged about the big play ability of Cam Coleman. He is as advertised, and when we talk about power rankings, it's hard not to factor in all the big play guys on this team when ranking Auburn. Now, I know you got them down the list here this week, but I don't think there's a ton of separation between 5 and 11. In my mind, I mean, is there a big gap between Tennessee, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Auburn right now?
No, I would say not. And it's a huge opportunity for Auburn this weekend. I mean, you got a Texas A&M team coming off the bye week. Last time we saw them, obviously took down Notre Dame, and what's a signature win for them at this point. But A&M still got questions. I mean, here's what we know. Their offense is explosive. It is electric. Marcel Reed has looked really good. Their wide receiver room is incredible. They've got a two-headed monster, maybe even a three-headed monster at running back, big veteran offensive line. But Auburn's got a good defense. DJ Durkin, obviously, that front seven, it'll be a great test for them. I think they can limit what Texas A&M can do offensively. And, I mean, you and I talked about before we jumped on, I'm encouraged by Auburn as well. That I think the big key for Auburn in this game, hopefully we don't have the ref show that we had last week. Pray to God we don't have the ref show. But you got to hit those big shots when they're there. There were a couple throws Jackson Arnold had that I'm sure he wishes he could have back that, you know, maybe if the ball's not underthrown, those are 6 instead of a long completion. So you got to hit those shots. If you're going to go on the road, win in the SEC, beat a really good team, which I think A&M is a really good team. They're right there with Auburn from the standpoint of, you know, these playoff aspirations. You're going to have opportunities. You got to take advantage of them. I agree with you. Cam Coleman's an absolute freak. He's going to be featured in this game again. So you know you're going to have him running down the sideline open, or you're going to have him running across the field open. You just got to hit him. You got to be able to take advantage of it. Should be a great game. I do admittedly right now have A&M winning. Tough place to play is Kyle Field.
Oh, come on, Chris.
I mean, listen, show me. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it can't, but A&M has been very good too. So this is one in a jam-packed slate in the SEC. Dare I say this game? It feels weird to say. Maybe flying under the radar just a tad because of the other games. This one's going to be a thriller.
Yeah, look, Auburn's gone into A&M and gotten the win. So definitely a place they've shown that they can win. But I mean, Marcel Reed, 58% completion percentage. They've got big playability. They like to test it down the field. But in that win versus Notre Dame, they threw 9 passes of 20 or more yards. They connected on 2 of them. They feel very boom or bust to me. And if you're Auburn, you've got the run game to really, really, really keep the ball out of their offense's hands here. And if you're going to hit the big play, like as I mentioned, just they're 2 plays away from Cam Coleman should have had up 250 yards receiving this past Saturday versus Oklahoma. If you go back to the tape, you amp Jackson Arnold down just a tad. He hits those throws. I like Auburn to win, beat A&M by a couple scores here at Kyle Field. I think that this is a particularly good matchup. It's going to be a tougher test for the defense in certain aspects, but I don't know, man. I think Auburn bounces back this week. You got to win road games if you want to make the playoffs in the SEC. Yeah. This is a good chance for them to go out and do that. Chris, you're picking A&M, but before we get to the break here, give me a score.
I believe my score was 31-24. I think it's a 7-point game. I mean, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a game goes in the fourth quarter. I had A&M just edging out Auburn. But again, we're going to talk about it here in a second, Mike. I think I know what I know about A&M, but I don't know for sure. And Auburn's a really good team that I think can make Marcel Reed. I mean, look, how good is Notre Dame? I got Arkansas beating Notre Dame. So in an upset. So I think if you can rattle Marcel Reed more than he has been to this point, you got a great opportunity to get the football off and force some turnovers. But right now, I got a 7-point win for the Aggies.
Yeah, I just don't see them getting 30 points on Auburn.
Fair enough.
I don't see it happening here. I mean, last year, to
be fair, we don't know a ton about A&M. They got the big win at Notre Dame. But again, I don't know what that means at this point. And they played 2 cupcakes.
Yeah, only 2 teams topped 30 points on Auburn last year, A&M and Georgia, but A&M went to 4 overtimes. So in regulation, they didn't get to 30. Georgia was the only one to do it at 31 points. They're really, really good scoring defense. Auburn may give up yards between the 20s, but man, when it comes time to try to get it in the end zone, they are very, very, very hostile. But look, it's that time. We're going to get to our fraud watch. Give me Auburn 33-17 this weekend versus A&M. We'll be back to see if that is a fraudy pick. But let's get to a quick word from our sponsors, our friends at AIM and Associates. That's right, AIM and Associates. Abels, Iannone, and more are here for all your investment needs. Participating in a 401k is important, but so is investing those dollars wisely. Most plans have limited investment options, and long-term value of your account can vary widely based on the choices you make. The reality is many participants struggle with how to allocate their 401k and don't have a resource to help. Now you do. The team at Abels, Iannone, More and Associates will review your plan options, discuss your goals, and help you choose an allocation strategy that works for you. The best part, there's no charge for this service, just unbiased fiduciary guidance to help you get the most out of your retirement savings. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or call AIMAINC.com today to take advantage of this free 401k review. The War Rapport has been compensated by Abels, Iannone, More and Associates for this endorsement. AIMA is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. I want to thank our friends at Sky Tobacco and Vape. Look, if you're looking for a reliable smoke shop that's close by, Sky Tobacco and Vape has you covered all over Columbus and even across the bridge in Phoenix City. Whether you're cruising down Airport Thruway, rolling along Victory Drive, or making a pit stop on the bypass, they've got you covered with a spot that's ready for you. From vapes to tobacco and everything in between, Sky Tobacco and Vape is your one-stop shop for good vibes and great deals. Swing through today. Chances are they're already on your way. Sky Tobacco and Vape. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Do you have some traditional ailments that could require some non-traditional remedies? Well, the Rogue Shop could have just the right thing. Again, visit rogueshop.com and use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills, and code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights. Summer may be over, but fall brings great weather, and you should be outside grilling on a Golden's Cast Iron grill or just staying in shape with some Golden Cast Iron weights. Work out, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron.
Tell these frauds to get their weight up, Mike.
Get your weight up. Get your play fakes up, Oklahoma cheaters. Anyway, I'm not bitter. Not bitter at all. Let's get to our fraud list. It's that time. I was going to do a really cheesy horn sound, but I'll just pull the graphic up. Fraud alert. It's time to talk about our potential frauds this week. First up on the fraud list for week 5. Chris, you and I agree. A&M could be on fraud alert versus Auburn. You moved them up to 4, but if they lose to the number 11 Auburn Tigers, it could be a sad day in College Station. Talk to me about Texas A&M being on the fraud alert.
Yeah, you got the big win over Notre Dame. Signature win at this point in the season was a really big win on the road, taking nothing away from it. You ask any college football fan, ask any A&M fan, SEC fan, of course, this is the game where you worry about Texas A&M. And I think we'll find out is this a new A&M, or is it the A&M we've seen before where, again, it's a game that you feel like you should win, you're favored to win, you're quote-unquote supposed to win, and you fall short? Certainly, again, if they lose 33-17 like you're predicting to Auburn, that'll be a pretty fraudy result from the Aggies in my book, and certainly it'll show they're fraudulent of being in the number 4 ranking. So got to put them on fraud watch. It's a losable game. I'm not trying to make it out as like it's a no-brainer they should win, but these are the kind of games where A&M builds you up only to come crashing down.
Yep.
A&M certainly on fraud watch this weekend.
Yeah, look, man, Auburn has the horses to do it. I think putting them on fraud watch is somewhat of an honor, right? It means there are expectations here, and if you lose, that means you did not meet them. But having expectations means you gave us enough to put you in that spot. So we're keeping them on fraud watch right now. Next up on the fraud list is Tennessee. The Volunteers. Look, they gave Georgia all they wanted in Neyland. However, they blew the kick to win it in regulation, and then they went on to lose it in overtime. Talk to me about Tennessee on the fraud watch.
Yeah, at Mississippi State. This is a game certainly I know Vols fans are not going to let me forget my pick over the summer, Mike. I had Mississippi State winning this game over the summer. I have admittedly since flipped my pick to Tennessee winning a thriller in a shootout, just because Joey Aguilar in the offense is significantly better than I thought they would be at this point. But look out for Mississippi State, man. Jeff Lebby and the boys, the vibes are high. They're rocking the throwback white helmet with the interlocking MSU. This is Mississippi State's moment to pop off. But I think after the Georgia game, there's kind of this, I don't want to say inflated, but there's a view of Tennessee right now. A lot of people talking about them as a playoff favorite. Fraud watch specifically because Josh Heupel's road struggles, Mike. Something to keep in mind. 1-3 in their last 4 road games under Josh Heupel. Every year, they've had a signature road loss. 2022, it was South Carolina. 2023, it was Mizzou. 2024, it was Arkansas. Is 2025 Mississippi State? We'll see.
Yeah, look, Mississippi State sitting at 4-0, as I mentioned earlier in the segment. They took
what a world we could live in if Mississippi State's 5-0
and 5-0 after 5 weeks
and ranked. They did absolutely jump in the top 25. How about that?
Yeah. With a win against Tennessee, yes, they absolutely do jump in.
Good for Jeff Lebby and State after a tough 2024 year.
We had them firmly in the bottom 4.
Everybody
in the bottom 4, yeah. But look, what a way to bounce back by winning at home, which, we'll see what that home advantage is worth here. Spread sitting at 7.5 for this one, I think.
And it's come down. It was at 9.5, dropped all the way to 7.5. So there's believers of the dogs out there, Mike.
You think Mississippi State will cover?
I picked Tennessee to win by 7, so technically that is a cover. I would not bet on it, because I can see Tennessee running away with this thing off. This is going to be the big test, right, for Coleman Hutzler and that Mississippi State defense. They were really good against Sam Leavitt in Arizona State, but I do think this Tennessee offense, I mean, this the way they're clicking on all cylinders, and I know some of it's come against inferior competition, but you do what you did against a Kirby Smart defense, Mike, you make a believer out of me in a big way. So, but this is the test. This is the test for State's defense. If they go out and put up a good performance here, even if it's in a loss, I think a lot of people will still leave this game pretty impressed and pretty optimistic what State can do the rest of the way.
Last on the fraud list is a team I love to bet on, but hate the results every time. Going up against a team I never bet on, but I love to watch them lose. That's LSU versus Ole Miss. LSU at number 3 on the fraud alert this week. I get it. I get why you put LSU on fraud watch.
Yeah, I mean, listen, LSU sitting at 3-0. 4-0 early in this season. They've got the big win over Clemson. Clemson stinks. They've got the big win over Florida at home. Florida stinks.
Yep.
The offense comes alive against Southeastern Louisiana. Who cares? So This is the game for LSU where
all great points
in Oxford you find out, okay, like are you really for a 4-0 caliber? Are you really a top 10, top 5 team in the country? What are you really? But I want to throw in there as well, Mike. We didn't do it. We could have. I think LSU and Ole Miss are on fraud watch. I know you love to put Ole Miss on fraud watch. That whole program's just on fraud watch yearly. But, Ole Miss is another one, right? With Trinidad Chambliss, he's catching all this crazy hype, and he's been very good. I mean, he's been very, very good. Torched Arkansas. Okay, they just lost to Memphis. He torched Tulane. All due respect to John Summerall, but I mean, it's Tulane. So this is where we find out what they really are too. So a lot will be determined in this game on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night in Oxford. Who's for real, who's not, who's a fraud, and who's not. I think the loser of this game we'll be talking about in a more fraudy manner.
Yeah, I mean, LSU only 391 yards per game at this point in the season. Ole Miss averaging an astounding 543.3 yards per game. If those averages hold, I don't see LSU winning this game, not on the road, but we'll see. This matchup was one of the better games last season, with LSU in Death Valley pulling it out at the last minute and then winning in overtime. I don't know what else to say, man. Ole Miss, every year they should, and then they find a way to not. So we'll see.
I picked LSU to win this game, actually.
Yeah. My money's on LSU right now.
I think LSU looks or makes Trinidad Chambliss look mortal. I think that finally is going to happen. Okay. He's been a great story. He's been really good. But LSU is for real on the defensive side. I don't think offensively they'll be great, but I think it'll be enough. I think it's going to be a lot lower scoring than people think. I got 24-17 LSU. I really, again, I like Chambliss a lot, but I think LSU is going to keep away with a running game against an Ole Miss front seven that has not been able to stop the run. And I think Trinidad Chambliss, I think he comes back down to earth, and LSU's defense is the kryptonite, at least at this point in the season for him. So I do think LSU wins. I think LSU covers. Weird to think this would be considered an upset if LSU wins, because they are the underdog in this game.
Let me tell you, last year, that comment about LSU's defense would have never been uttered. They've just been awful on defense for a couple of years now. I would argue that probably no unit has made a bigger statistical jump year over year than the LSU defense so far through 4 games. Going to be fun to watch, Chris. That's it for our fraud alerts list. Hopefully you and I are not on the list next week and our picks pan out. I'm picking LSU. You're picking LSU. Obviously, I got my Auburn Tigers. You have gone with A&M to win that one. It's going to be a fun week, another fun weekend of football. We've had some great SEC slates so far here in the first half of the season, so we're looking forward to more. Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered, I want to thank you for joining me today. Before we get out of here, tell people where they can find you.
I will, Mike. One more thing. Were you going Georgia or Bama on Saturday night?
Oh, I'm taking Georgia. Come on, man.
I figured that was probably a pretty silly question.
My conference champions. I'm not backing off that pick.
I figured that was a Crimson Tide 2-2 through 4 games.
That's going to be the story of the year. And DeBoer absolutely belongs on the hot seat. I don't give a damn if it's his second year, third year, 6th month. Who cares? That program lost 3 games for the first time since what? 2010?
2007.
No,
it was first year.
No, it was 10
in the regular season. In the regular season.
Regular season. Okay, yeah, because they were 10-2 through.
Yeah, in the regular season. Yeah.
No, I don't know, Chris. Now
it was the first time since 2007 they did not win double-digit games in a season. I know that for a fact.
I thought that. Yeah, because they went 10-3. Right? Is that right? They went 10-3
so. Regular season, I know it was 2007 though, because it was Saban's first year.
Yeah, they went. They went 9-3 through the season. In 2010, they lost to South Carolina, LSU, and Auburn.
That is right. Auburn won the national title.
And then they blasted Michigan State 49-7 in that Capital One Bowl that year. So Greg McElroy was the quarterback of that team. So yeah, 2010 still. Yeah. Point made. It still was what?
15 years.
14 years?
14 years, yeah.
Yeah, since they lost 3 games in a season, you come in and you do that in your first year. And then by game 4, you've already lost 2. The rest of that schedule is looking bleak if you're Alabama. And trust me, they're going to be Auburn fans were calling him Husky Harsin for the whole offseason. And I keep coming back to that media days, Chris, where you and I were in there sitting right next to each other. And I asked him, hey, man, what's your plan for coaching in the SEC? What did he say? Football is football? It's a lot tougher over here than it did in the now defunct Pac. But
Pac-2.
Oh man, I revel in their misery. It's going to be a lot of fun. Look, let's go on and get out of here, Chris. Like I said before, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, we're at SEC Unfiltered, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all over socials, YouTube, podcast. We get those, and of course our website, secunfiltered.com, and the SEC Unfiltered tour rages on. We will be again this weekend in Athens, Georgia, to take in that Georgia-Alabama game. Cannot wait.
Guys, that's it for another great edition of the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport, brought to you by our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. Get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Look, we want to hear from you. What do you think about our fraud list? Hit the comments after the video. Let us know who you think should be on the fraud list, and give us your score predictions for the week. Going to be a lot of fun games to bet on. And while you're in the comment section, do us a favor, smash that super thanks button. Your financial support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. Please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Rapport on every social media platform. TW Rapport on TikTok. Signing off, and as always, War Eagle.